the shot blocking, it's legit. You are averaging 2.4 blocks per game. You've got to go back to Tim Duncan to find a rookie who averaged more. You just had your fourth 7-block game of the season. Once again, for rookies, you got to go back to Tim Duncan to find a guy who did that. By the way, do you know you've got 4 of 12 7-block games in the NBA this season?
I don't know. I kind of do what I do and keep my head down.
Oh, okay. Now, see, I don't believe that.
You don't believe that?
To a certain degree, but
Okay.
you're young enough to where I don't know how active you are on social media, but my guess is you know how to scroll and find some highlights and that sort of a thing. By the way,
averaging about myself, sometimes I will.
Averaging 3.6 blocks per game since the All-Star break, it is the most in the league in that span. Do you have like a favorite block? Do you have one where it's just like, man, like you've watched that highlight 100 times?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Gosh, I mean, there's just so many. I mean, I can't think of one in particular, but there's a couple ones. Like obviously the Grant Williams game-saving one was a pretty big one.
Mm-hmm.
The one that we went to overtime, that was another big one. Probably that one, because that was like, I don't show a lot of emotion, but that was probably the most emotion I've showed like all year after a play. So yeah, probably that one.
To win a game with a block shot as a rim protecting big man, yeah, that's
feels pretty good.
But there's now you're not a swat into the third row kind of guy, right? You're trying to basically have outlet passes as blocks, or like block it to yourself and get the rebound. So you don't necessarily have like the volleyball spike type of block.
Correct. I try to get my block so I can run down and get a transition dunk.
There you go. Man, hey, I didn't even mention a 31-point game the other night. I was actually shocked by this stat. The first 30-point, 10-rebound performance by a Jazz rookie in franchise history. Honestly, I figured the mailman would have probably had a couple of them, but that ain't bad company you're in there. I mean, hey, if we're kissing your butt, I'll throw out your field goal percentage, shooting 72% from the floor. It's too bad. Mitchell Robinson was 74%, I think, a few years ago. So that's like the all-time record among guys who qualified. So it's too bad you can't say, the only one to do better is Wilt, because that's the only guy on the list. Again, that's not bad company there. Okay, now the flip side of being a rim protector, playing against the best athletes in the world, you're gonna get guys.
Where this is coming, yeah, I can see.
You're gonna get. Hey, like you put on. I don't care who it is. We can go Dikembe, Alonzo Mourning, Duncan. The guy you replaced, Rudy Gobert. If you're the best rim protector in the world, you're going to be on the wrong end of highlights too. That's part of the job description.
No question.
Who got you the worst?
Oof, that's a tough one. Gosh, there's a couple. Zion was bad. He got me on the perimeter, jabbed left, drove right middle, and went like a 2-hand tomahawk. I don't know. I mean, you've seen him. You tell me what you think.
Zion's up there. If I recall, though, you kept your feet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it's one thing to get dunked on. It's
I've never fallen down. No.
Okay, so that's another thing. It's like the one that I'm thinking of all time, probably one of the worst. There's a couple of them, right? There's the one where Shaq dunks on Chris Dudley. Dudley falls down. Shaq gets the ball and throws it, right? Passes it to him. Like, here, you got the inbounds pass once you get off your ass, right? And then there's also the famous the Rain Man, Sean Kemp, where he comes down and just throws that crazy tomahawk down on Alton Lister and then crouches and gives him the double point. Like, ooh.
No, nothing like that yet, but let's knock on wood.
So, but you don't have a finger wag yet. I mean, you've got a nickname. I mean, if you're going to be like this defensive player,
I might work on something, maybe like a tip of the hat or something. I don't know.
Oh, I like that. Yes, work it into that. Do you own an actual cowboy hat?
I mean, so at Auburn, one of my coaching staff actually bought me a sheriff hat, and so I hung it up. It was in my locker for every game, every home game. So I do have one. Yeah.
Do you have a pair of boots?
I do have a pair of boots. Mm-hmm.
You got a belt buckle.
I have not worn one in a while, but I'm sure I have one. I mean, knowing my family, I'm sure I've got one.
You've got to get one of those like WWE, dinner
Right.
plate size things. What I'm getting at is I'm trying to put together a pregame fit. I don't know if this will get you on league fits or whatnot, but like,
Oh, it'll come. Well, it'll come. Already put it together.
It's got to be a whole persona. I would say like get a handlebar mustache, but
if I could grow that, I would. But
I was going to say I'm not so sure that's within your capabilities. All the rim protecting certainly is. The handlebar mustache, I'm not sure about.
No, not that one. Not yet, at least. Not yet.
Speaking of the baby face, it has been pointed out.
Wow, you just called me out. That's crazy. That's wild. I can grow a little stubble. Give me something, man.
Well, listen, all my stubble's gray, so I'm old enough to call you out, right? I mean, give me a break here. And again, if I'm gonna, be throwing all these doubles,
you got to throw some shade too.
If I'm gonna put you in the conversation like defensive players of the year and Hall of Famers, we're gonna, it's not gonna be all just roses and and sunshine here. It has been pointed out, and I know you've heard this over and over and over again. You bear a striking resemblance to a babyface rookie head coach who happens to be coaching your team by the name of Will Hardy. First time you met Will, did you think I kind of look like, or this dude kind of looks like me?
So yeah, no, right off jump. Everyone was like, oh, calling me Coach Hardy, calling him Walker. What's crazy is that my brother actually looks even more like him than me.
Really?
But now we bear very similar facial features for sure.
Now I understand you really kind of stretched your creativity and dressed up as Will Hardy for Halloween. What exactly goes into a Will Hardy Halloween costume?
I guess y'all don't see the practice fit Will Hardy unless like on videos or Instagram posts, but like he wears sweatpants, he tucks his sweatpants into his socks. He always wears white socks, black sweatpants. He'll wear like this like t-shirt hoodie with a purple jazz thing. We'll have a whistle around his neck and we'll have a clipboard. And like I had a whole video where like I like recorded myself in the locker room doing like a pregame talk, like pregame play. Sent it to all the team. They thought it was coach thought it was he thought it was funny, but he did say he's gonna get me back. So look for a Walker Kessler impersonation from Coach Hardy soon.
Now, I will say when I was talking to Will earlier this year, and obviously he's a serious head coach, but the dude has a sense of humor and like he keeps things light. You've heard him say 100 times, fun is underrated in the NBA. And the other thing he said to me is, I get to wear flipping sweatpants to work. Basically like, dude, this job's awesome. What are you talking about? He takes
advantage of it. He wears a lot.
But I will say this. The fact that he was a little bit offended by the Halloween costume, I now have the answer to a question that I've asked him many, many times, which is what the hell took you so long to get Walker in the starting lineup? So like there's my answer. Now I finally know. I've unlocked this mystery because it's like you were put for a while. It was like we would have to do the per minute thing, right? Per 36-minute stats with you. Like early on in the year, it's like, dude, per 36, this guy's like knocking this thing out of the park. How about we maybe get his minutes up to 30 or so? And then, since you've been in the starting lineup, like post All-Star break, you're basically averaging like 13, 11 and 3.5 blocks per game. Pretty ridiculous numbers. I think you've got a pretty good chance of sticking in the starting lineup for a while.
I appreciate it.
Let me ask you this. So you get drafted, and technically you're a Grizzlies draft pick, but obviously Minnesota was the team that selected you. You weren't with the Timberwolves for very long.
No,
had you even stepped foot in Minnesota before you were traded?
So I did one workout that day, and after my workout, I immediately got called up and told I was traded, and I was like, man, must have been a bad workout. But it was one day I was there, and that was it.
So how did you find out about the trade? Did the story break and then you see it on social media?
They actually did a really good job. They were very respectful. Tim told me like, hey, we're going to trade you. Like we hope you do super well. So they handled it well, but it definitely did, being a rookie, catches you off guard. I was just like, oh, well, next thing you gotta do what you gotta do. But it was a good learning step for me, just because understanding that was like, everyone asked like, what's your welcome to the NBA moment? Like that was my welcome to the NBA moment.
Right.
It wasn't necessarily personal, but it was all just a business.
Yeah. You hadn't even had a chance to like house hunt, much less unpack your bags.
Nothing.